Ocean Pines is a vibrant residential community nestled on Maryland's eastern shore. With over 9 miles of waterfront property, amenities like an 18-hole championship golf course and a public yacht club, and a rich history dating back to 1968. Of course, if you live here, you probably know most of that. And if you don't, it's almost all apparent from your first visit. Each week on the PinesCast, we work to bring out the ocean pines that might be less apparent. We celebrate the region, the amenities, and, most of all, the people who make and keep Ocean Pines a special place to live. Welcome to the PinesCast, your source of news and insights about Ocean Pines and the official podcast of the Ocean Pines Association. This week, we are speaking with Marvin and Beverly Steen. Marvin has been selling homes and then property and then lots in Ocean Pines since the very beginning. And the couple moved there in the 90s, and they talk about the entire process from the early days to the later times and all the way through, and tons of great stories. So let's get right to it. Here are the Steens. Before we get too far, I want to get you guys to Ocean Pines. So could you each tell me the story of how and when you got to Ocean Pines and what brought you there?
Okay, in 1971, that's when I came to Ocean Pines. I came with Kingsbury Homes. Kingsbury Homes was owned by Boise Cascade. I came because I was hired by college roommate Harvey Hastings, who lived in Salisbury, Maryland. That's how I got here, in the housing division. So when I came, Boise Cascade basically trained me for over a year. And I was selling houses in Ocean Pines. And then one day Harvey Hastings came into the office and said, "I'm going to leave." I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to kickbox all over the world." And I said, "Harvey, when are you going to let them know?" He said, "A couple of weeks." I said, "Well, when you get ready to go, tell them I'm going to be with you." He said, "Why?" I said, "I'm leaving too." He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I want to build houses on my own. I've learned, I know how to do it." And he said, "That's a great idea. Do it." So that's how I got to Ocean Pines.
And what was the training like, the Boise Cascade training?
They brought people in here from all over that worked for Kingsbury, and they basically trained me mostly on weekends. They would leave wherever they came from and train me and go back fly back Monday or Tuesday. And that was it.
Well, it was training in sales is mostly what it was.
Sales, yeah.
He wasn't using a hammer and a nail.
No. No hammer and
nail.
He
still hasn't learned that.
No.
And so that must have been a little scary, though, going out on your own.
It was, but I had learned how to do it. So all I was doing, instead of selling their houses, I sold my own. And it was slow, but I kept doing it.
And now, so this is like 1973 or so, 1975?
Yep, that's when it was.
Because are you from here originally anyway, or did you came here with Kingsbury?
I grew up in Dagford, Delaware, which is 10 miles away.
Oh, all right.
And I grew up in Selbyville, Delaware.
And how did you get to Ocean Pines?
Well, we got married, and he was a accounting major. And when he got out of college, and he worked for Laird Bissell Mead in Wilmington as a stockbroker, and they transferred us to Salisbury, Maryland. And so we ended up in Salisbury. They offered Switzerland, and he chose Salisbury. So, we came back home. And after a few years with the market and everything else, he decided he needed to change jobs again. This wasn't hitting the mark. So he got called and offered a job in Ocean Pines. So we did not move here because I was a teacher in Salisbury. So he came here every day. And we didn't move here until 34 years ago, I guess. We moved here. But he was here every day before that.
What was it like selling the houses in the early days on your own? Because I know Boise Cascade had like a huge operation. So you were like on the periphery of that, Mr. Steen?
There were no
Ocean
builders.
Pines had a great sales force selling lots. And when I said a great sales force, they were probably the best group of salesmen in the country. And when I was with Boise Cascade, we paid the salesman $1,000 per house if we sold them. And there was only two of us selling them, okay? And so what I did, I said, well, if they did it, I'll do it. So I paid them the $1,000, and that's what I did for years. And
Oh, I see, because they were already selling. So you bought a bunch of lots, and you said, if you sell mine, I'll give you the same 1,000 that is if you sell Boise Cascades. Is that
no, the people they sold a lot to, a lot of those people were looking to have a house built, okay? And
There were no builders.
there was basically very few builders.
Oh.
And what happened, there was a real opportunity. They could not sell, and I was selling their houses. We could not get the builders. We never had enough builders to build the houses.
I see.
So it was a good opportunity for me to build additional houses.
And so to kind of backtrack a little bit, so one of the things that you knew is you're selling all these lots and there were no builders to build them. So that's what made sense to get into the building business.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yep.
I see.
Yep.
And when you got into the building business, what were some of the tough lessons you learned early on?
The toughest lesson was just learning to treat people nice. That's what I found. Treat people fair and give them good prices, and that was it.
And the other thing was, it was difficult when you brought subs in. What would happen was there was all dirt roads. There was no paved roads, and there were no signs. So I would go to the Beecham Road and pick up the subs and bring them into the job site. And after they did their job, take them back out. Otherwise, they'd be in here for 5 hours, lost, just circling all day long. A cement truck was needed to be refilled and brought back. So we found out that they had to be brought in and taken back out.
Have you guys been married since the 1970s?
We've been married for 60 years.
Wow.
64. We got married in 1964.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in addition to your job as a teacher, I guess in the summers, you were
That's what I did in the summers.
Directing the contractors.
And then we also had model homes, and we would live in the model home in the summer and to be down here. Then we had 2 kids. So the next thing you knew, we would have to get out. By 9 o'clock, we'd have to go to the beach so that they could use the office. So then our daughter, when she was about 5 or 6, she decided that she could sell lemonade on the porch of the model house. Oh.
It was all dirt roads at that time and no signs. And you can imagine driving through the gate, and it was to the point that you had to have an appointment to get in the Ocean Pines. You just couldn't drive in and say, I want to take a look. They did. Boise Cascade did not allow that. You had to go with the land sales.
And no, there was just one gate at the time too, right? That was just
one gate. That's it. Yep, they were the bridge is today.
And so how did you guys keep from getting lost? Did you ever get lost in a weird way with all these dirt roads?
No, because what happened when I met the people basically right there by the gate, they would have a lot. They would already have bought a lot. And I would ask them, could you please take me to your lot? And then I would know right where the lot was, and then get a design of the lot and start working with the people right then.
And did you sell like a bunch of different plans? Was it, were there hiring architects at the time? I don't know how far back it goes to have plans on hand. What was it like to have people choose their homes, and how did that work?
Most of the people would tell me the idea. We want a house, $100,000 or price-wise, and I said a 1 floor or 2 floor. And most of them would want a 3-bedroom, 1 floor house. That's where it was.
Wow.
and the designs were close. And Boise Cascade had a set of their own plan. They had about 10 homes they liked to build. With myself, I would take a look at the plan they got or have somebody
We
draw
had a
up one.
draftsman, Bill Stamp.
And his name was Bill Stamp. And Bill Stamp would design a house. I'd price it out and build it.
And he worked for us for over 40 years, drafting and, changing up any designs that they might have and all. And that worked real well for us.
And he still lives right down the road from my office today. I see him all the time.
So drafting is different from architecture. So you had like a basic plan, and then he would like make it look the way people wanted it.
Yes,
That's exactly right.
That's
Yep.
right.
He would take the plan that they would scribble down or bring to him, and a lot of people would come with a magazine.
Oh, like when you go to the barber.
The same thing. Yep. We like this house.
This is the picture I want.
I'd give it to Bill Stamp. He would redesign it 2 or 3 times. I'd price it out and built it.
And then the construction crew had a plan to go off of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so by the time things started, when did it start to get like really, really, really busy for you? Do you remember about what year it started to get like crazy busy?
When Boise started to leave, we bought Wood Duck 1 and Wood Duck 2 and Harbor Village, Saltgrass Cove, and then we developed those individually different times. And that's when it really got busy for us, when we started Wood Duck 2 and did the townhomes there. And that's Wood Duck 4, though, I guess. But they're all broken up in there.
Boise Cascade decided to leave Ocean Pines.
Mm.
And when they decided to leave, I bought a small section. I put in the sewer and the water. I designed it.
The roads.
And the roads, the whole bit. Then I had people come to me and want a lot. So I sold them that lot. And they immediately wanted to build a house. So then I built the house for them. And I did that several times in Ocean Pines.
And it makes it sound to me, though, like you also had a couple houses on spec that you were selling that you built and then sold?
Very few. Very few.
Yeah, we were custom builders, and we didn't really, we had 1 or 2 models over the years, but that we turned into an office, and part of it was part of the office.
Yeah.
And you bought a whole section, was it a couple hundred lots that Boise wanted to get rid of?
Yeah.
Second National got.
I know that there's at least one listener out there who wants to know how you decided to name the streets. Was there any plan for naming the streets in like Wood Duck 1 or Wood Duck 2 or any of those places?
My wife, who's sitting there, designed most of them.
So what was the plan? How did you do it?
I don't really remember that. That was so far back. I think it was, you're sitting at the kitchen sink and this is our kitchen table and you're throwing out ideas. And if they hadn't been used, that was the biggest problem. If a name has already been used in the county anywhere, you couldn't.
Right.
So I think that was it.
And that was the hard part because the county's got so many roads to have a name.
Did you ever have to change like a road at the last minute or?
Yes.
Yes. More than once.
So what's that process like when you go there, you're like, these are the roads and they're like, we already have one of these. We already have one of these. Is that?
Yeah. What you do, you take a plat to the county with road names on it and they review it. But it's still, we get, before we recorded it with the county and state, they would really check it. Then that's when we would find out, hey, you got 2 names already used. So we would have to change it.
That's funny. So right now you are one of the only, you guys still have an office in Ocean Pines, right? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. We have the office on Ocean Parkway in Ocean Pines. We live in the house. Our office used to be a garage, and then we changed toward the roof off and made an upstairs office, and that's where we've been here for a long time.
And do you still get people visiting you in the office, or is the office just kind of where you conduct your...
Oh, no, we have a lot of customers come by, a lot.
Well, we don't build anymore. We closed the building business it was 2019.
Yeah.
because when COVID hit, because the prices we were finding, the last house that we were doing was you had no control over when you would get the supplies, what the price was going to be. They were doubling, and you had given a price, and
Right, and you had to make it.
You had to make it, and you weren't going to make it. So that's when we decided. Marvin's 85 and I'm 83, and we're still working on a daily basis. So we said, we don't need to do that any longer and stress on that. He had property, and it was the Triple Crown. We were getting ready to open up. It was not quite finished with the county, but we said, let's stick to the developing. That's what he knows best. So that's where we are.
And so you put the lands together and let other people sell the lots now.
No, we sell the lots.
Oh, but you let other people build the houses.
Yes, right. They can have any builder they want. We usually suggest about 5 really local good builders.
Hey there, listeners. Are you in the Ocean Pines area and looking for a pharmacy that goes above and beyond? Look no further than Title Health Home Scripts. Open 6 days a week, our knowledgeable pharmacists are ready to fill your prescriptions in just minutes. Plus, we offer free home delivery in the Ocean Pines area and have a super convenient drive-through window. Need over-the-counter items? We've got a large selection. And with our monthly sales, you'll find everything you need at great prices. Conveniently located at the North Gate of Ocean Pines, Title Health Home Scripts is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. To fill a prescription or arrange for a free home delivery, give us a call at 410-543-4769. That's 410-543-4769. Remember, that's Title Health Home Scripts, your trusted pharmacy partner.
Did you know that this was going to be your permanent office when you put it up? What's the story of your office?
The story of this office, I designed and built wood decor. And when Boise Cascade had this location, they were going to put part of the sewer system on this office. And I said, boys, you got a pumping station across the street. I'll pay to upgrade that station, and I wanted a lot for my office at home. And they agreed to it. So I paid the money, and they put the sewer across the street, and I built the home that we're in right now.
And what year was that about?
78?
Yeah,
early on.
Yeah, early on. I mean,
He's been here a lot of years. Yeah,
right. Did you know it was the last one, or was this were you like, this is it, and we're going to stay here forever?
No,
like, did you think?
Not really. I think we've played it. You move on, or you change things. This has been about the third spot we've been in. So you go with the flow and the timing of things.
It's on the water. We put the pier here, and we live here. We had 2 kids came up here, and it's been great. So we're going to stay right here.
But this is the original office.
We had one at the South Gate.
Oh yeah,
we had one at the South Gate, and then we had a trailer that was where the empty lot is from here to the wood duck too.
I see.
And we moved from the trailer into the garage.
Yeah, into the garage.
Yeah. So we just play it by ear as things go, and has things. Every year is a different year. You never know.
And let's talk a little bit about your social life in Ocean Pines, because you guys were there at the very beginning, or very close to the beginning. So there were once people started moving in, and kind of like the yacht club was having its heyday, and the trips to Ocean City were, on the ferry and whatnot across. What was it like to be around then? What were some fun stories from that period? Do you recall any?
Oh yeah, the kids. We had the sports corps with the swimming pool up there, and our daughter was a great swimmer, and she went there a lot. And my son loved the fish. So he went with a guy named Bob Corlick a lot. I'd go with Bob Corlick a lot fishing in the bay, basically, at that time. And then, of course, I love the beach. And the beach club is a fantastic place over there. So, and Ocean Pines has always had a lot of activities for the kids. A lot, I'd say. And they still do.
The summer camps. Our kids went to the summer camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Debbie. We had Debbie Donahue on last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, talking about the summer camp. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now we still lived in when our children were small. We were still living in Salisbury. Our son, we put him in second grade at Worcester Prep and thought we were going to move. And our daughter was at Y High, so she didn't want to leave her friends. So he would come with his dad to work on his way to work and drop him off. And then I would come pick him up, or we had a group of ladies that would take turns driving that had children in Worcester. And so he ended up graduating, and we didn't move until he graduated.
Okay, so I missed that early on. So you've been in you've been living full time in Ocean Pines since the late 80s or early
34, 34 years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
1990, we moved here.
Yeah.
And so tell me what it was like then in the 1990s when you moved there. Did you have to integrate yourself into the community, or were you guys already kind of part of the community?
No, what happened, or let me tell you, even today, a lot of the people that would buy a lot were on a parkway, and what they would do, they would just stop in and see me about building a house. So many people in the first early years, I would get to meet and get to know a lot. A big percent of those people would come in, and I would end up building a house.
It got so bad that I had them build a courtyard to join our townhouse because if he went out to cook the meat, he would always burn it because somebody stopped by. And they were the first person that they got to know was Marvin, because he was going to build their house. And so it was nice, but you had no privacy. And somebody was always in there talking to him. So I finally said, all right, we're building this courtyard. And I closed the gate, and you can cook inside here. And we might be able to eat the meat that you're cooking. I was still involved. I was very involved in Salisbury, in the garden clubs and the Beta Sigma Phi sorority and social sorority and the junior board over there. And then I was in charge of the kitchen at Asbury for 10 years. So I commuted a lot back to Salisbury for my social for a long time until they got a Beta Sigma Phi sorority here in Ocean Pines, and I joined that. When you work all the time, you don't get too involved in the ladies' organizations and things.
And basically, John Talbot and Rick Firth and myself, we helped when the Chamber of Commerce was getting formed. We joined that. And then when the Kiwanis, they needed people. So we joined that. And there was a lot of clubs that originated right here that we helped join and are still going strong today.
So it's also kind of like a put your money where your mouth is kind of proposition. Like, okay, well, we're going to get people to come here. We're going to get people to make their lives here, and you're making your life here. So you want to kind of support that.
Yeah.
We sure did. Yep.
And we're one of the few builders that lived in the community where they built. Most of them leave town.
Right. And I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of I covered Berlin for a while. I'm thinking of some particular scandals in Berlin.
Yes. Well, this is it. There's a lot of stories to be told.
I think Joyce could tell you a lot of the good stories too.
So do you have any stories about your own struggles or your own triumphs in kind of dealing with the counties and the towns?
Oh my gosh.
No, everything you do here, you gotta be cleared by the county, which they have different meetings, but we've got a great group of people down there. They keep changing, because a lot of them that I know that started years ago have retired. They have a lot of new people in the last 3 years because the early people retired. And Ocean Pines has always been good, I tell you.
When you did you have any hobbies beyond fishing? Either of you? Like, did you guys swim or boat or any of those
We
things?
played tennis when we first started selling down here. We were with a Friday night tennis group, and then they would go to Tony's Pizza in Ocean City because there was much here in their area. So we would go over there after playing tennis, and
That's fun.
and it was fun. A long time we did that. And
Do you remember any of the names of your fellow tennis players? If we can ring anybody's bell out there.
Jim Berge,
Jim Berge was one, and,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
his
yeah.
wife, and I'm trying to say
Dr. Billingsley. Yeah.
Billingston.
And I do a lot of hunting all over. Okay, all over town. And my son has a fishing boat, and I've done a lot of fishing with him in the bay and primarily in the ocean.
When he got out of college, he got his fishing. He got his captain's license, and he had a charter boat called the Magic, and for 5 years. And so after pounding on the seas for 5 years, he decided to come back into real estate with his dad. But he now has a bow fishing company that he does bow fishing at night, and he does that as a side hustle.
And he worked for us.
Yeah,
And so you did mostly. I'm sorry. Did you say bow fishing?
bow fishing, at night.
Does that sound? So that's you shoot fish with arrows in the dark.
Yeah.
That's right.
How does that work? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just hearing the first
The
time.
boat all lights up on the water, and it's beautiful. You can't believe all of it, and a lot of them are the stingrays, and they're up to 200 pounds,
Wow.
and they're out here in the bay.
Well, I've seen schools of stingrays before out in the bay. I just never thought of I just never thought of them as like is that a gaming fish or is that a fish you eat?
Not really. I don't think you really eat it. Some people have taken them and eaten them. That he's taken fishing, and then he takes them up in the rivers in Nanacoke and the Wicomico if the sea's rough out here.
Oh wow, that is super
And
cool.
they get snakefish, and they get some carp and some other small fish.
And so, Mr. Steen, you hunt. Is it like duck hunting or geese hunting or?
I shoot ducks, I shoot geese, and deer. And my son really keeps. If you walk in my office, you'll see a lot of heads in my office.
That he got years ago.
Yeah.
He would go out West Antelope, Wyoming, and then
Canada,
Texas.
everywhere.
There is the second largest in the world elk on the wall. So
So that's So you're not just out in the Pocomoke forest shooting deer.
No. He's traveled all over.
I've been Uruguay, a lot of places.
Yeah. We've together we have gone to 72 foreign countries.
Wow.
Yes.
And so you guys are still open. Do you ever consider is retirement ever on the docket, or is it just as long as you're there and people are ringing the bell?
No, there's no reason to. I mean, we're happy. We stay active. We go out to eat. We socialize with friends. We go to church every Sunday. We stay active, and I think that's what keeps people. You get to live longer if you stay active socially.
And so, what are some of the things you guys like to do now?
Well,
I guess his thing is like to get dragged along.
Yeah. As long as I'm driving, he's ready to go.
You got it.
Anyway, we go out at least once or twice a week to dinner and with friends. Then we have our 4 grandsons that live locally or come back home locally. A couple of them live in the city, and we do a lot with them. Our daughter lives a mile and a half away. So we're very blessed with family. And then having grown up locally, we have an extended family. And I'm still involved with the Wicomico Garden Club in Salisbury. I was a life member there. So I do those things, and I go to lunch with friends. Marvin does too.
Well, I'm from Dagsboro. Originally, I've got a lot of friends up there. I've got a brother in Bethany Beach. I got a brother in Dagsboro. Beverly she's from Shelbyville. She has 2 brothers in Shelbyville. So we've got a lot of family close to where we live.
Excellent. And that kind of is wrapping it up for me for now. Is there anything that you wanted to say? Is there anything that you thought I would ask you and I didn't? Anything you didn't get to talk about because we still have time?
Well, the only thing I'd like to say is Ocean Pines is a great place to live. I can tell you that. Joyce has been here 10 years, He knows how good Ocean Pines is. And it's been good to me and good to my wife and family. Beverly, what do you got to say?
I agree. I ditto that. It really has been. When they first started building, our kids didn't want to move here because they just said it was just old folks.
Right.
And then it changed. It ended up being year round, and you had so many young children.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for your time.
All right. Okay.
Bye-bye.
The PinesCast is an Ocean Pines Association production. It was written and edited by me, Tony Russo. Executive producer, Josh Davis. Please subscribe wherever you are listening now, or follow if you're on Apple. If you like the show, please tell someone else about it, because that is the best way to get the word out. Every week I say it, and this is a week, so I'm saying it. I would love to have your feedback, and I would love to keep this conversation going. So if you care to email me, you can do that at bytonyrusso@gmail.com. That is bytonyrusso@gmail.com. If, for example, there's a story you want to tell, but you don't want to be on the show to tell it, or there's a story you want me to find out about and have someone else tell it, shoot me an email. I'll get it all worked out. And of course, we would love to have your ratings and reviews on the app of your choice. But mostly, we want you to listen to the show. We want you to like the show. And as I said, we would very much like it if you told other people about it. You can also send along comments or questions that we will address in future shows as is possible and appropriate. And that is all for this week on the PinesCast.